Have you ever stayed in a relationship, not because it made you feel alive, but because the silence of being alone felt louder than the voice of your own unhappiness? Be honest, it's not easy to admit, but sometimes we hold on to someone not out of love, but out of fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, the fear of looking in the mirror and realizing we've forgotten how to be with ourselves. This video isn't about judgment, it's about honesty, the kind that stings at first, but heals in the long run. Let's talk about what no one wants to talk about, the lie we tell ourselves when we call it love. And it's really just fear. We grow up with stories, movies, books, songs, all repeating the same message that love saves us, that love completes us, that love is the goal. And so we chase it. We get into relationships quickly, or we stay in ones that haven't felt right in months, maybe years. We explain it away. They're a good person. We've been through a lot. It's just a phase. It's better than being alone. But deep down, we know when the connection has faded. We know when we're just coexisting, not truly sharing a life. Still, we stay. Not because we're weak, not because we're foolish, but because we're human, and being alone can feel like failure. In truth, it's not love that keeps us there. It's emotional dependency, the kind we rarely notice because it's disguised so well as commitment, loyalty, and routine. Here's something most people won't say. Loneliness is heavy, really heavy, and emotional dependency often starts there, in the quiet fear that being alone means being unloved, forgotten, or unworthy. We confuse familiarity with love. We confuse consistency with connection. We'd rather share a bed with someone who doesn't see us than sleep alone and face the void of our own unmet needs. And it's not always because the other person is toxic. Sometimes they're kind. Sometimes they're just as lost as we are. But if you're not growing, if you don't feel safe to be fully yourself, if you're shrinking just to keep the peace, that's not love. That's survival. A friend of mine, let's call her Maya, was in a relationship for almost 8 years. From the outside, it looked perfect. They lived together, had a dog, even shared a joint Instagram account. But she told me something one night after a few drinks. She said, "I realized I stopped being myself 2 years in, but leaving him would have meant rebuilding my entire life. And I was too tired, too scared." She didn't hate him. She didn't even blame him. But she knew that staying was easier than confronting who she'd become. Eventually, she left, quietly, without drama. And the hardest part wasn't losing him. It was facing herself. That's the part no one warns you about. When you leave a relationship that you were using to avoid your own loneliness, you don't just lose the person, you lose the distraction. And suddenly, you're face to face with every unhealed part of you. We often think heartbreak only comes from being left, but heartbreak also comes from leaving someone you care about, because you finally care about yourself enough to walk away. You can mourn something, even if it wasn't right for you. You can grieve a relationship and be proud of yourself for ending it. There's a line from philosopher Alain de Botton that sticks with me. One day, you'll find it's harder to be in the wrong relationship than to be alone. That day usually comes after nights of lying awake next to someone, wondering why your soul still feels unseen. Love feels expansive. It invites you to grow, to evolve, to breathe. It's not always easy, but it's rooted in freedom and mutual respect. Fear, on the other hand, clings. Fear says, "Don't leave. I'll be nothing without you." Fear says, "I need you to feel whole." But if you need someone else to feel whole, it's not a relationship, it's a crutch. And here's the harsh truth. No one can make you feel truly loved. If you don't first learn to love yourself, you'll keep asking them to prove it, to fix it, to carry your worth for you. And that's a burden no relationship can hold for long. Emotional dependency often starts way before the relationship. It begins when we don't learn how to regulate our own emotions, when no one teaches us that being alone isn't a punishment. It's a chance to get to know ourselves. So we grow up thinking we always need someone there, someone to hold us when we're sad, someone to validate us, someone to distract us from the parts of ourselves we haven't figured out how to love yet. And the moment we feel a hint of that connection with someone, anyone, we grab onto it like a lifeline. We tell ourselves we're in love, but maybe we're just relieved not to feel so invisible, so uncertain, so alone. That's not love. That's emotional rescue. So how do we break the pattern? How do we stop calling fear love and start building something real, first with ourselves and then with others? Let's get practical. There are no shortcuts, but there are steps. Most people don't fear being alone. They fear what comes up in the silence, the uncomfortable thoughts, the past regrets, the aching question, who am I if no one is loving me? But here's the truth. Silence isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. Start small. Turn off your phone for an hour. Go for a walk with no distractions. Eat a meal by yourself, not scrolling, not texting. Just be with you. You'll feel resistance at first. That's normal, but if you stick with it, you'll start to notice something. That voice inside you, it's been waiting to speak. You just never gave it the space. If your self-esteem rises and falls based on someone else's attention, you're not in a relationship. You're in a trap. Start building a relationship with yourself that's not dependent on someone else's validation. This isn't some vague self-love mantra. It's daily practice. Make promises to yourself and keep them. Say no when you mean no. Spend time doing things that light you up, whether or not anyone notices. When you stop outsourcing your worth, you stop being afraid of losing someone because you know they're not your source. You are. Ask yourself, if I wasn't afraid, would I still choose this? This one hurts, because sometimes the answer is no, and that doesn't mean your partner is a bad person. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It just means you're growing, and growth often reveals truths that comfort tried to hide. Listen, you don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to make any sudden moves, but you do need to be honest, because you can't build a real connection on top of a lie you're telling yourself. The more comfortable you become in your own company, the less you'll tolerate relationships that require you to abandon yourself to feel loved. The goal isn't to be alone forever. The goal is to never fear being alone again. When you stop fearing solitude, love stops being a desperate search and becomes a conscious choice. Here's something no one tells you. Staying where you don't belong still breaks your heart. Just slower. It's not as dramatic as a sudden breakup. There are no tears in the rain. No one begs anyone to stay, but it's the slow kind of heartbreak. The kind where you wake up one morning and realize you've disappeared inside a life that doesn't reflect you anymore. And that's the danger of staying just because. Because little by little, you shrink, you compromise, you go quiet when something hurts. You convince yourself it's normal to feel unseen. But deep down, you know that love, real love, shouldn't cost you. And leaving, walking away, it's not weak, it's not selfish. It's sacred. It's choosing to believe that your wholeness matters, that being alone is not a failure, it's a declaration. I'd rather rebuild myself in solitude than keep breaking myself in someone else's shadow. You don't need another person to fill you. You are not a half waiting to be completed. You are already whole. And the day you finally trust that is the day love finds you. Not as a rescue, but as a reflection of everything you've already become. So if you've been waiting for a sign, maybe this is it. Maybe today's the day you stop calling fear love and start calling yourself home.